When they see your face, look into your eyes, you're real and you're human and you're authentic, that's when trust happens. And when trust happens, everything else can happen. Without trust, no one's buying from you, no one's talking to you, no one's building your relationship. So if you're not figuring out how to build trust, what are you doing?
Welcome to another exciting episode of the podcast, The Thought Leader Revolution. I'm your host, Nicky Ballou. And man, I am thrilled to bring you a really dear friend of mine, my former boss, my mentor, the one and only Alan McLaren. Alan, man, good to have you with me tonight.
Every time you say I was your old boss, I feel so old.
That's awesome. Buddy, we're both feeling old right now. It's just wild. I was telling Teresa right now, I says, I don't feel my age, man. I feel like I'm 30.
Our brains are 30, thank God for that.
Yeah, so thank God for that. Yeah. So, Alan, the reason I wanted to have you here today is to have a conversation about a topic that's near and dear to my heart, and I believe yours as well. Yeah. And that's relationships. You and I were talking about this off camera, that the most successful businessmen and women in the world today really understand the value of relationships, and they acknowledge how relationships have helped them get to where they are in life today. And they spend a lot of time thinking about relationships. They spend a lot of time growing the relationships they have, initiating new strategic relationships that make sense. They value it from the human connection point of view, because human to human, man, we're not meant to be solitary, but they also see the value in business. And, you know, I just thought it'd be really great to have you chime in on this for a couple minutes.
Well, I guess I really see it very simply. What else is more important?
True.
I mean, as you use the word human, as human, I mean, work is a game. Everything else is a game. We've been given philosophically a heart to feel things, and that's energy, and that's relationships. And those who value those, that's what really creates fulfillment in your life, is the people that you have in it. The question for people to consider, especially when we're thinking about intentionality, is how intentional are you about maintaining the relationships that you want to maintain? And, you know, quite frankly, get rid of the ones that are toxic, because you don't need that in your life.
No, you don't.
Right? So I think for me, I've always been that way, and I want to be that way for the rest of my life because it gives me the most pleasure. I mean, what are your thoughts on how you see that, Nicky?
Buddy, I wholeheartedly agree with you. You know, recently there have been a few relationships that I've cut off. And at one level, it pains me because, like you, I want to help people. I want them to win. And it's at some level, I look at it as a personal failure that I wasn't able to really give these folks enough to help them be their best self. But at the end of the day, I realize that if it's not happening, it's not happening, and there's a reason for that. And you know, God intends for things to go the way that they go, and some relationships are here just for a season, and they got to move on. But I also spend a lot of time thinking about relationships like you, and I intentionally strengthen certain ones. In fact, you know, once a quarter, I lead this thought leader immersion workshop I told you about. And at the end of the workshop, we do a 90-day plan. And one of the aspects of that 90-day plan is, what are the 5 key relationships you need to invest in the next 90 days to strengthen, and why? So we actually ask that question, and everyone writes down the names and what the relationship's all about and what they're going to do and all of that stuff. And I also think, Alan, in this day and age, it's important to build and create and initiate new relationships, right? Mm-hmm. And that's one of the reasons you and I are teaming up to do something pretty exciting in a couple of weeks, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to be doing, you know, using podcast guesting, right, as a tool to start building relationships. And I'm not going to give it away. But to start building relationships, both linearly and abstractly, with the people that we touch every day. And the important thing to consider for me is that I look at two types of relationships. The relationships that I want to nurture and invest in that are more than just business relationships. So friendships or adjacent friendships, if you will. And then the other ones are really the ones that you can develop and find on LinkedIn. As an example, three of my best friends, and nobody believes me, the relationship started on LinkedIn,
Come
completely
on.
cold. Three of
That's
my best friends,
crazy.
two are outside Canada, and when I go on vacation, I see them, like that kind of stuff. And one of
Wow.
them is local here in Toronto. So if you nurture and if you find the right people in the world, the globe is a big place, but it's not that big.
No.
And people who are of like mind, of like heart, find each other. If you are out there, if you are visible, ergo, a podcast is a way to do that. Building a leadership brand is a way to do that. They're all just ways of being visible, Mickey. And then when you find someone you like, connect, talk, and nurture. That's the secret.
Beautiful. You know, Alan, I think podcast guesting really is a new fashioned take on a very old fashioned idea, which
Yeah.
is that spending time with someone, be it, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, or Joe Rogan, like 3.5 hours, is a really beautiful opportunity for you and that person to get to know each other. That no factor happens in that time frame. And then the like factor that it happens if the no factor is done right, the like factor happens. And when the like factor happens, then the trust factor happens. And you and I were talking about this the other day, if you recall, that right now, no, like, and trust is important, but of the three, trust is the most important. And what makes trust possible is know and like. But these days, for a lot of people, physically getting together with like one of these friends of yours that you have that's halfway across the globe isn't always possible on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
But technology in the form of things like LinkedIn and especially podcast guesting gives you the opportunity to have that meeting that you normally would have had back in the day in person in a coffee shop or over lunch or over a golf course.
Yeah.
Online, over the air, on video. And that's beautiful because, Alan, if you think about this, if you spend an hour a week going on podcast, which could be either one show a week or 2 half-hour shows, and I'm not saying everyone can do this, but there's a lot of people who can spend an hour a week going on podcasts. Okay, there are a lot of people listening to this, a lot of people that we want to come to our event that we're doing, which we'll talk about in a minute. In the course of a year, that's 50 to 100 new, minimum 50 to 100 new significant relationships.
Yeah.
That's incredible, isn't it? I mean, if you think about it, it's incredible.
Well, it's the beauty when you and we joked at the beginning that, we worked together a long time ago. We didn't have the tools we have today.
No.
Right? Everything was one-to-one. It was cold calling. It was emailing, whatever the technology was. Now you have distribution. I mean, distribution is both ways, right? But here's where a lot of folks miss the boat.
Yeah.
Systems to follow up. If you don't want to think about it, make your system remind you. It might be a text. Hey, buddy, thinking about you. Hope you're good. Might be a LinkedIn direct message or Twitter or whatever it happens to be. Those are the things that matter. And then when you're looking at podcast guesting, just thinking of it as another way to build more relationships, some at the adjacent level, where you say they might be potential clients for me or buy my book or whatever the things that will happen. But they'll remember you because you're human. And the video mechanism of a podcast, if you're doing a video, is where the trust factor kicks in. When they see your face, look into your eyes, know that you're not full of crap, you're real and you're human and you're authentic. That's when trust happens. And when trust happens, everything else can happen. Without trust, no one's buying from you. No one's talking to you. No one's building your relationship. So I always just tell people this. If you're not figuring out how to build trust, what are you doing? That's all there is.
So what are you doing?
That's all there is.
No, it's funny you said that. In a meeting I was in before I came to do this podcast with you, I said those words to a dude I was talking to about something that he was doing. I mean, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? What are you
What are
doing?
you doing? What's the alternative? Like I had someone the other day say, well, blah, blah. And well, so what's the alternative? They didn't have an alternative. So fine, then nothing will happen. And guess what? Nothing will happen. You
Yeah.
don't do anything, nothing will happen.
So we want to talk about this event that we're doing on December 3rd. Alan, maybe you could just talk to the folks about what it is and who we're inviting and why it makes sense for them to check it out.
So I think it's pretty simple. Nikki, the man in front of you, is one of the world's foremost experts on podcast guesting, which is essentially going on podcasts as a guest. And I won't give away the plot, but there's some strategies that make some sense because you can go on a podcast tomorrow and it'd be great. It'd be fun. It'd be wonderful and nothing will happen. And you could do it 30 times and nothing will happen because you need to have a strategic approach to it. I'm not going to give away the strategy because that's why we want you to attend. But Nikki's going to share those things with you and we're going to talk about the macro and how important it is for you to be out there and what the strategies are to connect and be intentional about it and then be consistent with it. And then with those things, I think you'll come away with some tools and you'll want to get active on it and you may want to learn more. And if that's great, then there are tools and people that can help you do that next. But I'm excited. We'll spend an hour together. Nikki's got a presentation to do. I'll contribute from time to time, but I think it'll be a worthwhile hour. We're going to talk to YPOers and non-YPOers, but primarily YPOers. But if you're an executive and you want to learn more about this, jump on because we'd be happy to have you.
Yeah, and it's happening on December the 3rd, 10 a.m. It's going to be on Zoom. It's free. We're not charging for it. You know, I know that there's a trend these days to charge for some of these webinars, but we decided we want to keep this free. We want you to attend. We want you to have your eyes opened on this important and currently effective, and that's an important point, Alan, currently effective tool for developing powerful, wonderful, fruitful relationships.
This is not a webinar where we're going to bait and switch and sell you a course at the end. We're here to service you, help you, and if you want more information, it's your invitation to come and find us. Because there's a lot of podcasts, a lot of people that do webinars, and at the end they go, and if you buy today, it's $99. If you buy tomorrow, it's $79.
No pitch.
We're not doing that. No games, no pitching, just service. And when you service, you build trust. And when you build trust, you get business. That's how the game is played. That's what we're going to do.
Awesome. Well, Alan, listen, thank you for coming on and sharing your insights on relationships, their value, how to build them, and how podcast guesting helps. I'm excited to be teaming up with you. It's the first time we're doing an event together, so I'm kind of chuffed, at least since back in the old days.
That's right.
We had a few events back in those days together, but this is the first time in 2025. I'm excited, and thank you so much for making this possible. I love and appreciate you for it, brother.
Well, it's going to be great. And, you know, the reason I do it, I mean, obviously you and I have a relationship, but when you're in service to others, what does that mean? You're delivering value to people at every turn. That's what we hope we can deliver for you guys on the podcast.
Amen.
This episode has been brought to you by eCircleAcademy.com, the proven system to add 6 to 7 figures a year to your thought leader practice.